Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you're able to hear me?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay, regarding to the installations and everything, we'll fix it mostly tomorrow. Okay. So the related to the SQL Server architecture. So this is a concept. Without this interview question, their interview will not end. So that much critical this question is. Explain about SQL Server architecture. Okay. So this is the question as I'm repeating. Without this question, there will be no interview. So which is the reason this answering this question is almost 40% of the interview. If you answer this question confidently, then it means that you completed 40% of the interview successfully, which is the reason that is so important here. Okay. Okay. So you're able to see the picture of the SQL Server architecture, right? Your voice is again not.
Sorry. Yes, bro. It is audible.
Okay, now okay. So you can see the picture which I am showing.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the architecture which helps to understand what is happening in the background of SQL Server. From front end, what we are seeing, installing SQL Server, and we are seeing the services which are running. We are seeing the services which are running, and we are just connecting to that particular services, and we are able to see this. But what is happening in the background is the point, is the interview question. So they want to understand from you how much understanding you have on the architecture and to understand what is happening in the background. So this is architecture which happens in the background. First thing, this is the user. User means anyone. Now I am connecting here. I will be treated as a user. If any other person is connecting, he will be treated as a user. Anyone who wants to connect to the database services are called as a user. Okay, so user is here and he is ready to connect to the SQL services. He is ready to connect to the SQL services. As I remember, I told yesterday, to connect to the SQL services, we are using one of the graphical tool. Okay, you know that SQL services are running fine, but how you will know what is happening on the background, what is services are running. If example, if I want to know the version of the services which are running, how I will know? So this is the reason. This is a Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. This is, in short, it is called as SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. So this is a management studio which is used to show what is happening on the background, what is happening on the software. As I told yesterday, when we install this software, the setup which we will be here, this one will be coming by default. Think that we are just connecting to a software which is running. If we connect to the software, we can see this particular information, system databases. This we created, however, by default it will not be there. All others will be there by default. Instance name, databases, snapshot, security, objects, replication, AG feature, management, integration services, agent. All these will be configured by the software, by the Microsoft. Okay, this is a graphical tool which we connect. So if I directly go ahead and give these details, and if I connect, will I able to connect? How? What is the flow of that? That's what we want to understand here. The flow. What is the flow of that? So the flow which is we are seeing as an architecture. The connect user, take an example of me. I want to connect to the database services. I want to connect to the database service. Suppose think that I want to connect to a data file. I want to see the data file. I want to see the log file. So for that, I need to connect to the SQL services through one of the graphical tool called as SSMS. Through one of the graphical tool called as SSMS, which we want to see. First thing is SQL Server Network Interface. Okay, so these services which are running, it will not directly allow you to connect to the database immediately. There is a layer, there is one layer which allows us to go to the next level by understanding the procedure of the way you are connecting. So there is an interface, means there is a layer which is there to connect to the next layer, next level of the layer. So the interface which we see here is, we can see of the configuration manager. When we install SQL Server, the configuration manager, SQL Server configuration manager also will be installed by default. With this services, the SQL Server configuration manager also will be installed. So in this, I want to presently focus on network configuration, which I want to relate to the network interface. So to allow connections or not, this network configuration, network interface will decide what the user need to do, whether to allow to the next level or not. This user interface, we will have an option. Under this, we will have the protocol. So network configuration means network interface. Under this, we have protocols. So the point here is the protocols which are shared memory. These are types of protocols. I'll add this as an interview question. Types of protocols in SQL Server. Types of protocols in SQL Server are shared memory, named pipes, TCP by IP. So these are the three protocols which will allow to the next level. I will explain you the protocols. These protocols will allow to the next level. So why we have three protocols is the question. So shared memory is a protocol to connect to the local services. I'll have a diagram for that, which helps. Okay. Okay. So here you can see there is three types of protocols: shared memory, named pipes, TCP by IP. In that, if you see here, this layer is called as shared memory. So the example for this is a child and the mother are staying in a same house. Mother is serving coffee to the child. In short, if you refer to the SQL Server, accessing the SQL services running on the same server. See here, we have services on this server. If I want to connect to the services, first the shared memory, shared pipes or the shared memory need to be enabled. Means on the same house, I want to access the SQL server on the same server. If it is enabled only, we will be able to connect. We will be able to connect to the SQL server. If we disable this one, then we will not be able to connect to the SQL server, because it is a protocol which allows connections on the local system. So access on the same server. You got the point here? What is the shared memory?
If shared memory is enabled, then only people or other users can also access the same server, or
No, here shared memory means local server. This is installed on my laptop.
okay.
If I want to connect on my laptop to this services means local.
Okay.
Then it should be enabled. If it is enabled only, now I am connecting, right? Why? How I am connecting here? Because this is enabled. If this is disabled, I cannot connect.
That will be enabled by default then.
Yes, by default it is enabled, because to connect to the local system, it should be enabled by default. If we disable this, what happens is the SQL services itself will not start, because the local system connectivity is disabled. Means that the local services will not be able to start. Got the point? What is a shared memory?
Yes.
Shared memory
It is
is
like
a
a
type
gateway
of
to.
Shared memory is a type of protocol which allows access on the same low server, or it is also called as local host. Local means local server. Got my point? Okay. So next is named pipes. So think we have a server in the office of 2 floors. We have an office of 2 floors. We have 1 DB server in 1 floor. For the people to connect on the local host, this is enabled. But if people who want to connect to the server on the intranet, office intranet, okay, think that this server is in the local network of the office. Okay, so in the local network of the office, the server is there and you are also there. And the people who are in the second floor also are there in the same network. Means that if people want to connect to the SQL services on the same network, on the same intra network, then this need to be enabled. From outside, now it is disabled. These both are disabled, means no one can connect to my system. No one can connect to the SQL services. As it is enabled locally, I can only connect to this services, because the people who are on my network are out of the system, out of this laptop. If you want to connect to this laptop, because you are out of the network, you are not in local, you are not in internally, you are out of the network. That is called as TCP IP. I will refer to that. Named pipes means if anyone want to connect to the SQL services who are on the same network. Think that the database server is in the office, you are in the office, The people in the second floor are also in the office. If you are in the first floor and the people who are in the second floor want to connect to these services in the office, then this need to be enabled. If it is disabled, even you are in the same network of the SQL services, you cannot connect to the database. You cannot connect. This will not connect. Because if it is disabled, if it is enabled, then the people in the office network, if they have valid access, they can connect to the SQL services. You have any doubt on this point? So you should be able to answer now what is the shared memory, what is the named pipes, and now coming to the TCP by IP. TCP by IP is a protocol which is used globally to connect from external network. Example, you are in your location, I am in some other location. We are connected through a network, internet only. If we are connected through internet and if you want to connect to the database, then if you want to connect, this need to be enabled. This is the analogy. Named pipes means same company, different floors, but in same LAN of the office. If you want to exchange something, access server on the same LAN or network. TCP by IP means accessing server in a different location out of the network. It is not local, it is not internal network, it is out of the network, external network. If you want to connect, then this need to be enabled. Understand the difference between these three?
Yeah, I got the difference, bro. I just have one doubt. Uh, for example, name pipe is not enabled.
Okay.
Okay, but TCP/IP is enabled, and is on the office network.
Okay.
But still, connection is allowed, right?
Yes. The connection will be allowed through the TCP port because it is enabled.
Okay.
Okay. But
Yes.
it is not a standard that 100% it will allow.
Why?
Okay. Sometimes if you are in a local, there will be a computer VPNs, right? Internal VPNs.
Yes.
That will be treated as a internal server only. Even you connect, even the TCP is enabled. Sometimes based on the network configuration, sometimes it will not allow. Because if you are in the same network and you are trying to connect through an TCP IP, the TCP IP port may not be enabled, treating your connection as an intranet connection.
Got it.
Okay, so these are the three. You should be able to answer this question if the interviewer asks. And this is the reason, so that you should understand, which is the reason I gave examples.
Got it.
Okay, so what are the prerequisites? What are explanation about SQL architecture, types of protocols in SQL Server? Okay, these are protocols. Okay, this is the flow. Protocols is passed. Then what happens? Then it goes to the next step, command parser. We'll go to see that. Okay, now example, you are in name pipes or in local net or out of both, these both are enabled and you will be able to connect
One more
and
thing.
go to the next step. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Bro, once the user is connecting in the SQL Server network interface, what actually happens?
So
It will check.
network interface, what happens is, once suppose see that the flow, Okay, I gave database engine, right?
Okay.
I gave the server name.
Hmm.
Once I connect, what happens is, presently I'm here. Once I click on connect, it will go to the network interface and the protocols under it, it will check
Okay.
what type of connection your connection is. Is it a local connection? Is it internal intranet connection? It is a TCP IP connection.
Okay.
So the protocol will check. It will identify, the SQL server will send to the protocol the type of connection which I am connecting. Once I connect, the interface, this layer interface will send the information to the protocol saying that this connection is an TCP IP connection. Then the protocol layer, what it does, it will check whether the TCP IP is enabled or disabled. If it is disabled, it will not go to the next point. If it is disabled, this flow will be stopped and it will respond to this saying to the user saying that some network issues, not able to connect, some generic error it will give. Understand?
Yes, bro.
Okay. So the protocol layer will tell yes, your protocol is successful and you are able to connect. Then I'll be able to connect. Now I am here. Once I connect, I am here. This layer is called as a protocol layer.
Okay.
This layer is called as a relational layer. Relational layer. This layer is called a protocol layer. This layer is called a relational layer. Okay. So now I am here. Now where I am here? I am here. I am just entered here. I'm just entered into the relational layer. So once I enter, what usually we do in database? As I told, what is a database? Can I explain what is a
It
database
is,
in single statement?
yeah, it is a place used to store and retrieve the data, store and fetch the
Exactly.
data.
Exactly. So store and fetch the data. If I connect to the server, I want to do something. So what I'll do, I'll create a new query. Once I click on new query, the command parser is waiting. Once I click on new query, a session is created. You can see 68. 68 session is created. Okay, let us see this one. Select start from sys process where PID equal to 68. So you can see here, I clicked on a new query, means one session with ID 68 is created. If I want to see the data of that, you can see here 68. SPID is 68.
Yeah.
What it is doing, all the information. What is the program it used? I'm using SQL Server Management Studio. What is the host? My host name is this one. What is the ID? I'm using this. Login, this one. So all this information we can see with the help of this select star from sys processes. This will run on the master database. Master is system database will tell. So 68 session is created. Here 68 session is created. Now command parser is waiting to get a command. What I'll be sending an example. Fetch database list. So I am trying to execute some query saying fetch database list. What it is showing, it is showing some error. There is no such list name, error does not exist. Who is sending you this error? Which part of the relational engine is sending you this error? The command parser is responsible to check the syntax errors. Syntax errors means it will check whether the language you are trying and the SQL Server language is compatible or not, whether it is able to understand or not. The command parser responsibility is to check your query is valid or not. The language which you are using is understandable by SQL Server or not. If it is not able to understand, then it will send out an error. It get database list execute. Still incorrect syntax error database list. So nothing. Command parser is stopping you here itself, saying that you cannot go forward because the language which you used is not able understandable by the SQL Server. This is the responsibility of the command parser to check the syntax of the queries. Okay, understand here? So you should be able to understand network interface, what it does. It checks the type of connection it is coming. Protocol layer, it checks whether the connection type and the protocol is enabled or not. Once we execute the query, the command parser checks whether your SQL query is valid or not. And the next is the optimize. Yeah.
In the relational layer, it is like when you execute your queries only, it will be functionable. The connection which is allowing you into the server is up till protocol layer only.
No, it will be always functioning in the background. But when we execute this one, this will be triggered. The points, the blocks responsible in the relational layer will respond. Okay. Command parser will check. Next is optimizer. Optimizer is a process which helps the SQL Server to identify the shortest path. Example. Yeah, shortest path to get the data from the database, to get the data from the disk. From the database means database will be available on the disk. So it will be getting that and responding to you. So example, we have a Google map. If you want to from one location to other location, you have 3 routes. The 3 routes, Google map will give you 3 routes, but it will give blue line in one line only, saying that out of 3, this route is the best.
Yes.
The same way, optimizer will have the plan. Plan means I will try to execute, select star from execute. So I executed this command. What happened is, first command parser completed successfully. Command parser is telling my work is done. Go to the next part. The optimizer, when we execute this, select star from human resource dot department is a table wherein it will be checking if any plan related to this. How many do we have any plans for this? So it will check we have any routes for this to get the query faster. How many routes we have, whether any route is there or I need to create a route. Because if it is the first time, we will not have any plan. Think that it is the first time you are executing. In the plan cache, it will check first. The optimizer, it will check the plan in the plan cache. If plan cache is available, it will respond you quickly. If plan cache is not available, what it does is it will go to the data and create a plan. Now it is creating a plan because this is the first time. It is creating a plan and it will save that plan here and it will respond to you. Optimizer, what it is doing, it is checking the shortest path. It is not able to find. What happened then? The executor will execute the query and get the output from the data, and it will save in the plan will be created and the plan will be saved in the plan cache. If I execute the second time, it is very easy for us because the plan is already in plan cache. It will not go to the data file because it is already having the information. It is already having the shortcut. It is already having the data in the plan cache. It will not go all the way to here and all. It will just come here. Plan cache, it is available. Respond to this. Just if plan cache is available, it will come here and it will respond to the user. If plan cache is not available, then it need to come here. Select statement, it will go here, it will come here, check get the data and save here, and it will come here like this. See the path, see the route, how it is doing. So the route, this route decides, because as we are now seeing very less rows, we will not see the impact. In the real environment, they will be executing lakhs and crores of records.
Yes.
In that time, this is going to impact. If you have the plan, shortcut plan cache, it is going to complete in 5 minutes. If it is not there, it need to get the data, save here, it will complete in 15 minutes. But think that if you are trying to log in into the Facebook, if it is taking 15 minutes to log in into that, the user cannot wait that much time. Which is the reason the architecture is built like that, so that from the plan cache it will responding quickly. The query executor activity is execute the query. Execute means send the query to the what is it is supposed to do. This query executor task is to tell the access methods what type of query. We will have two types of queries. One is select. Okay, the optimizer, it is not able to find any cache, it will check the internally, and the query executor will tell to the next process that the query is select query. Select query, query executor will tell to access methods it is a select query. Then it will go here and get the data. If the query executor tells it is an insert, update or anything, then it comes here first. Insert the data in the transaction log if any data changes related. Then the process happens the same. Previously it was getting the data from here, and now once there is an insert, it will log that insert in the log file. We have log file and it will get the data. It will verify any plan cache is available. If it is there, it will respond to this. Meanwhile, that data will be saved to the disk. If it is an insert, this is a flow. Okay, from here it comes, it is an insert. Save that insert transaction in the log. Then it will check the plan cache. If that particular data is available, it will respond to this to the user. If that is not available, the same process. It will go here, get the data, save to the plan cache, respond to the user. So this is where all the modules are working. You got the point here? Okay. So we are good for today. You don't want to push everything on one day. So today, think that we completed SQL interface related and protocol related. We have relational layer.
Relational layer.
Okay. So tomorrow we will cover this and some other topics. I told the process, right? I will tell next steps what it is doing, what is the pool, dirty page, data cache, data file. We'll show this.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is
So
you
do
told
you
that there
have
is
any
two
questions?
types of, yeah, that's what you told, that there are two types of query. One is select
Okay.
query and insert query.
Yes.
Insert query is like inserting new data into the data file now, bro.
Yes, exactly. Insert,
So
delete, update. These are called DML commands, means data
data
manipulation
manipulation.
language. Yeah. So data manipulation in SQL Server, if it is a DML command, that data need to be written in the log file first. Before doing anything, that record, suppose you want to withdraw an amount in the ATM. Once you
Yeah.
click on withdraw amount, that log will be there in log file that you are trying to request the amount withdraw. Your log will be recorded saying that amount withdrawn. This much amount is withdrawn. That particular log will be there.
Hello,
Yeah.
bro. Your voice is breaking.
1 minute. Okay, you got the point here, right?
Yeah.
Transaction log. Hmm.
Yes.
So we'll have more discussion on that tomorrow, related to this particular storage layer. Okay,
Okay.
we completed the protocol layer, relational layer. We'll look into the
Relational.
storage. You have any other questions?
No, bro.
Okay, so we are good. If you have any questions, please don't you can write it here, and make
Yes.
sure you are getting ready with the questions, interview questions. You are
Yeah.
getting ready. You need to answer in your own words. Okay,
Okay.
explain in your own words. You have be ready. As I'm telling, without these questions, there will be no interview for 3 to 4 years of experience profile,
Okay, bro.
because they are not going to ask you advanced level. They want to touch base mostly on the basics.
Okay. To know
Okay,
the
so
understanding of the subject more.
yes, so the basics need to be very strong.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll reach back. We'll connect tomorrow 8 p.m. Okay, we'll
Yeah.
try to fix that installation on your laptop tomorrow before the
Sure. I'll,
class.
I'll try myself once by checking some videos.
Okay,
Of the possible ways. If it is not possible, we'll connect.
sure, sure. That is a good approach. However, tomorrow I'll connect and I'll fix.
Okay, bro.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
The webinar has ended. Thank you for joining. Goodbye.